PR is playing much better than any player can play.
Post-COVID fans have always narratives about how a player has evolved over time. So
Stats don't take into account the intangible factors.
It's just loud noises on social media.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cricket Gyanbaazi. And we are back after a historic and emphatic 336 runs victory over England and the first at Edgbaston. And to discuss about the game and to discuss about also about the next games and a few nuances going on in the team, we again have Satyajit and Abhishek with me. So I'll start with review of the previous test win from Satyajit.
I remember in the last podcast, I was saying that Edgbaston has been a graveyard for India. So finally, it looks like we have breached that graveyard, we have breached that fortress. And what can be a better way than the Indian captain standing tall, 436 runs, which is, I think, one of the best, finest knocks I have seen in a long time in Test cricket history, possibly the best in the last 8, 10 years. And it has been an all-round performance. I really liked Gill's captaincy in this match. He has been a captain on and off the field as well. During his batting, he led the team with his knocks, the captain's knock that we call about. And when it was about the fielding and bowling rotations, that was really good, like rotating between Akashdeep and Shiraj with short spells, changing those fielding positions, getting getting the fielders at which positions they should be when it was Smith batting or when it was Harry Brooks batting. That was exceptional from him. And I think he has improved a lot over the last match. Talking about England a bit, England has also done some good things with their batting. Their middle order looked strong when the top order fell with 0 runs. Like we had 6 zeros in the first innings, but the middle order did some good batting. They put up some real good runs. The bowling looked a bit off. I don't think they had much answers for Gill in this match. But with Gus Atkinson and their premier bowler Jofra Archer getting back after 4 years, the next match might look different. The bowling attack might look more fierce in the next match. But talking about this match, has been a really good win and a historic match for India.
Abhishek.
Of course, I agree with Satyajit Da, and I'm more than happy to be wrong here. As in the last podcast, I told that I would be happy if India managed to draw this test match. And considering the result, 336 runs, winning by 336 runs, it is huge. And talking about Gill, he was exceptional. Akashdeep and Siraj, and they worked like workhorse here. And the changes which Shubman Gill waited for the new ball and then changed to Akashdeep and Siraj. It was like uh, saving your best players for the right time. Like Jadeja and Washington Sundar, Prasidh Krishna were bowling with when the ball gets older, and as soon as the new balls come, and he gives ball to Siraj and Akashdeep, and where they start. Talking about Washington Sundar, Jadeja, and Prasidh Krishna still needs to work on his length and variations, where Siraj and Akashdeep actually surprised the England batters. And for spinners, I would say they are working pretty good. The pitch don't give as much as it gives to the seam bowlers, but they are working very good. And in the batting line, I'm actually more than happy how they are performing. And even in the middle order, I have seen improvements.
Okay, so Abhishek was talking about the middle order, and there were little changes we have seen from game one to game two, where Karun Nair was promoted to number three in the second test. I would like to talk about Karun Nair here. Scores of 0, 20, 31, and 26, with players like Sai Sudarshan and Abhimanyu waiting for their chance. Also, Sarfaraz Khan waiting in India for a chance to get into the middle order. Is the pressure mounting up on Karun Nair? Abhishek.
I would say playing in a practice match and playing in an international match does have different kind of pressure. And although he is supporting the batting lineup a bit with his 20s and 30s, but the thing is, you can't stay or you can't make your place permanent in the team with this score.
Satyajit?
Uh, has put some real big runs in those practice matches and in the domestic circle, but still we are waiting to see some great knocks from him. And if you see his runs in Test, they're like that. Like every time it is 26, 30, 40, suddenly a 303, and then again 0, 4, 36, 24, like that. So I'm still waiting for that 300 knock again coming up from him, but he has to use his chances when he's getting them, because there are a lot of players who are waiting in line to come up and take that place. Sarfaraz Khan being one of the most leading contenders for that. Sai Sudarshan played in the first match, dropped in the next. Abhimanyu Ishwaran, who has proved himself in the domestic circle so well, he might be given a chance. So I think it's one more match for Karun Nair, and if that fails, then possibly there would be other players who would be taking up his place.
No, from the start of the series, I was a little skeptical of Karun Nair being 34, 35 years of age and getting back into the team. But I did not want his career to pan out this way. Since he's representing India, I would always love him to score. From there, scoring highs, there is another player who is conceding runs, scoring high, but not for himself. Prasidh Krishna. He's been a curious case. Played 2 games, although he took 2 important wickets in the second innings of first test, but he's leaking too much runs, too many runs at a great pace. What's your take on Prasidh Krishna? Is it over for him in this series at least? Satyajit.
So Prasidh Krishna's, I think he is the filler bowler for Bumrah now, because in the next Lord's Test, Bumrah is definitely coming back, and Prasidh Krishna will have to sit back, no doubts on that. And when Bumrah rests again, he will be coming up. But yes, he is getting beaten at the ODI scale. If you see his averages licking out 5, 6 runs every over. I said the same about Siraj last match, but Siraj has hugely improved in this match, and he has challenged the England batters like anything. Akashdeep, that angling in ball coming into the stumps, that has been really great. But what I think now is that Prasidh Krishna is not taking much wickets, but is leaking runs, and those filler overs when the main bowlers need some rest, he is not doing that job right. So possibly in the next match when Bumrah comes in, he will have to sit back. Uh, Talking about if he's getting one more match, that is possibly yes, because when Bumrah is rested again in maybe the fourth match, then he will again have a chance of donning that jersey. But he has to prove himself again, or otherwise Arshdeep might also be considered. You never know.
Abhishek.
For me, Prasidh Krishna was a little off bit in this match actually. In the first match, it was fairly well performing, but the second test was disastrous for him. Players like Ben Duckett, Harry Brook were dominating him, and
Jamie Smith.
sorry, James Smith.
Mm.
James Smith was dominating him from the start. Actually, when he and the concerning thing is lack of variation. I would say you need to have variations in, especially in test matches, where you can see the example of Akshdeep in the same match. He even he surprises with his variations, and Prashid Krishna need to work on his variations or use it more often to surprise. But it seems like bats he couldn't surprise any England batter, and they were so comfortable, like so comfortable to play his balls.
I want to continue talking about Indian team, but for a moment, we'd like to address 2 players from English side because they've played brilliant cricket. It's Harry Brook and Jamie Smith. They have been outstanding in both the test matches. And Jamie Smith, I'm seeing him for the first time against India, and he's playing outstandingly. What's your take on Brooks and Jamie Smith? Satyajit, let's start with you.
So Brooks and James Smith both are very young and have a long way to go. Like the technique and the way they are managing the pressure when the top order is failing up, they're building a partnership. That was really good. Like James Smith is very young. I think he's 24, and he's constantly keeping the wickets at the back and is giving them a very solid foundation at the middle, which is very important. And Harry Brooks, like has always been said, he is more of a like a short format player, but when he came to the long format, he has surprised everyone. He has played really well, and I think he is going to be what Shubman Gill is for India. Harry Brook is going to be for England in the coming time, because he has a long way to go, and the technique specifically, like he's dealing all the players with a very calm head. Like whenever it is Akashdeep or the bowling rotations bringing up Siraj, and then there is spin attack from Jadeja and Washington Sundar coming up. He's trying to like play all of them with a good composure. So I did not see much weak points in him. Like he's not a good player of spin or something like that. Although the spin of Indian team is also not very much effective, to be honest. They're just plain spinners, but then also he was pretty good. So I think both of them have a long way to go.
Abhishek?
I have to check, but Jamie Smith have average of 55 as as much as I know, and having average of 55 in test matches after a certain number of games, it is impressive. And the thing, he has a long and bright career ahead. and hopefully he will convert that. And looking at Harry Brook playing the test, I think he have adapted to the test very well. And somehow, I was like little bit worried about, or we can say, thankful that Root was not in the form. But
Hmm.
what Jamie Smith has done, it is really impressive.
To be precise, 12 test matches and he averages 58.6. That is
Yeah, the
impressive.
last,
That is actually impressive.
yeah, excellent.
Okay, since Shotwita mentioned spinners, and there was one player who have been put up to a toss in on the social media, all over social media after the first test, and I guess he redeemed himself. Let's talk about Ravindra Jadeja a bit. I think his contribution is often overlooked, and in pitches like England and Australia, you won't get much wickets from him, but he's contributing in his ways, and I felt he was not supported enough with the captaincy as well. He wasn't given that catching positions in the first test, which we saw in the second test actually. And you have seen Washington Sundar pick up the wicket of Ben Stokes with that field setup. What's your take on Jadeja being criticized mostly over the social media actually?
Social media is like, sorry, uh, social media. You can't rely on social media to get a proper opinion. It's just loud noises on social media, and I would say PR is playing much better than any player can play. Like I have seen posts praising Siraj and comparing him to Bumrah and how Bumrah have taken rest, and it's totally like disgusting to see how people are comparing your own bowlers. Like if you are an Indian cricket fan, it, you will be like ashamed of what these PR companies are doing. And Ravindra Jadeja has been an asset and number one all-rounder all over the world. He is known for his like he is good at every aspect of the game, be it batting, fielding, and bowling. Of course, he is not getting that help from the pitch. I would say for from the captain, it would be a little bit controversial, but yeah, he's not getting help from the pitch. I would say, and on the batting head side, he's trying to contribute, and he's actually contributing a lot, holding the position bit in even in both the innings of first test match and now in second test. He is holding the inning for India. Staying there in test, we know how much important it is to stay on the pitch and play the ball. And he has done his job tremendously good. And it in bowling department, I would love to see him like do crazy things.
Shotwita?
So post-COVID fans have always narratives about how a player has evolved over time. So if you
Yeah.
had started watching cricket after 2021, you would have not have seen the peak Jadeja moments. So I won't comment on them either. But coming to Jadeja, I'll tell something about Gill here. So Gill's captaincy style I've been closely following, and how the first and second match variation looked to me was like he's constant talking to the bowlers. Every over after few balls, he went and was in conversation with Akash Deep, Shiraj, and Jadeja. And the fielding placements, he gave a very good free hand to the bowlers to set up those fielding positions. Like this was something extraordinary coming up in just your second match. His because he brings a very different style than what we have seen in Virat. He is not someone who is going on around shouting and like every other ball going and celebrating the wicket on the face of the batsman. No, he's very calm, he's very composed, and I think he maintains that aura that everyone can come and talk to him, but he also has a say in the final decision making process, and I really like that. And in Jadeja's case, that was a true difference in the first and second match. He gave the field positions Jadeja wanted, and he let him rather set the field on his own. Coming to Jadeja's bowling, see, these pitches are not going to help spinners. Lord's pitch, like I just saw a preview of that yesterday, and I posted that also in the social media. So that looks like a green grass filled carpet to me. I think the grass will be cut more, but McCullum wants a very bouncy and pacey track. So spinners are not going to get much wickets there. But Jadeja's contribution should not be seen just as a spinner. He brings a solid foundation in the bottom line of the batting order. The runs he contributed, 87 and 68, if I'm not wrong. So that proved a very foundational setup for the Indian team. And when Gill was batting with him or any other batsman, they always felt that okay, I can go on and hit the shots because he's holding on the other end. And that really proves why you need such an experienced, because this Indian team is very new in experience. So when you have such an experienced player who has traveled all over the world and like retained the number one or the number two all-rounder ranking for a decade nearly, you need to utilize him and his expertise when you are facing these tough conditions. And yes, I believe Jadeja like is rightly placed in that team, and he should be there for at least many this WT cycle for real. So all the trolling and all the This is just white noise that I call.
From one of the biggest match winners of India in tests in recent past to another very big name and one of the most important players and biggest match winners, Jasprit Bumrah, the curious case of Jasprit Bumrah. I'd just like to start with a few stats that I have with Jasprit Bumrah. Since Jasprit Bumrah's debut, India played 73 test matches. Bumrah played 46 of them and he missed 27. Of the 46 that he played, India won 20 of them, lost 22, and drawn 4 of them. Without Bumrah, we have played 20 matches. We have played 27 matches, won 20, lost 5, and drawn 2. 2 drawn matches. Now, to break it out again, uh, in domestic matches that we played with Bumrah, 12 matches, 8 wins. That's around 75% of 75% win percentage. Without Bumrah, in domestic, we have got 18 matches and 14 wins. So that gives 77.78 win percentage. And overseas with Bumrah, we have got 34 matches and 12 wins, which gives percentage of 35.29 win percentage. And without Bumrah, 10 matches, 6 wins. That's 60% win record. Which the stats, as I always said, reveal less and hides more. These stats will say that Bumrah has not been the factor for India's win, and India plays better without Bumrah. But what's the reason behind the bowlers maybe performing better without Bumrah and they're not stepping up with Bumrah more? Is it that they shoulder the responsibility without Bumrah and leave it upon him when he's in the team?
Yeah,
Uh,
actually, Satyajit, please continue. Sorry.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the stats do lie at times because when you're seeing that as an isolated factor, as just bowling, or just with Bumrah in the team, and as well, you are not considering many other dependent variables, which are many other independent variables rather, which are influencing that final outcome. So I don't think that isolating one factor and correlating it with the outcome or the Y variable is very much reliable here. But there is some point, and I wanted to mention that when I saw the first and second, Siraj's bowling has drastically changed in the first and second match. So when you know that you are on your own and you have to steer the sinking ship, so maybe there is a better performance coming out of you. Akashdeep has also bolstered the performance. He was not in the first match, so there's not a point of comparison. But I think when Bumrah is there, Siraj does lay back on him a bit. But Bumrah being the best simply is the best bowler we have seen in this century. So we cannot simply say that keeping him out of the team can lead you to victories. No, that is not going to happen.
Abhishek.
As Satyajit mentioned, that being Bumrah in the team has less number of a lesser percentage of winning, it doesn't mean that he's ineffective. The thing, let's not calculate the whole matches. We cannot discuss the total number of matches here. But I would say three important matches, two in this series and one in Gaba. The thing, Bumrah was not at Gaba, Bumrah was not at Edgbaston. So we cannot say that Bumrah was absent in those matches who was easy to win because both of these matches where Bumrah was absent are known as fortress for the home team. And performing there is actually tough, and winning the match is tougher than that. And Indian bowlers have proved that Bumrah being absent doesn't actually assures winning of the opponent team. But it doesn't tell you the whole story that how effective Bumrah is. We have seen in the last match, in the first test match, where Bumrah was performing, but he didn't got the support. And maybe, as Satyajit said, being on your own gives you different kind of discipline. When Bumrah is there, you can try here and there. You can go for different lengths. But when you are on your own, you need to bowl as the main bowler. And that's where the changes come. Even captain, I'm not only talking about captain, I'm not talking only about the bowlers. Even the role of captain changes here. If you are setting a field for only one bowler and giving the ball to the other one to bowl on the same length, it will have different results. And we have seen how they perform. Siraj is a wonderful bowler. We look at his stats, and he is one of the finest bowler India has got at this. I'm talking about at this point of time. He is the leading bowler from India, and he has proved with time being that he deserves that.
Stats don't take into account the intangible factors. But what's a little concerning about this, the stat that I've said is he has played 46 and missed 27. The missed number of matches is a little concerning, especially with his fitness. So from Bumrah, you have no, Abhishek has mentioned about how captaincy even changes, role of captain changes without Bumrah. Just a minute or two on Gill's captaincy. I know it's too early, but just 2 matches. What do we make of him? Gill's captaincy. Let's start with Abhishek here.
I won't add much. That he is evolving and he's learning. Let's see him in lots.
Okay, Shatrita.
So I think I've spoken enough about Gill already. So
Yeah.
I really liked this match's approach, how he interacted with the bowlers, did those field placements in tandem with the bowlers' requirement. He has been going on and talking to them every now and then. So batting wise, yes, because there is a set batting order, you have come up and given exceptional performance 430. That was really good. But what I wanted to see him, where I wanted to see him rather was how good he was when the team is fielding. And because the last innings, last match, to be honest, it was just run rain. So how is he going to step up here? So this time maybe the pep talks that we have heard when he was talking about something about of doing something to their arts, but otherwise he has really done a good job. I feel we have to give him time more to see how he does in this entire series, but I think we have something special in making here.
I was a little critical of few field settings, especially with the spinners after the first game, and he has changed that, and he has you know mm, become an evolved version of himself just in his second test, and I really liked his captaincy in the second test as well. So moving on from the first test, as Satyajit already mentioned that the first look of the Lord's pitch looks more like an outfield than 22 yards actually. So any changes that you'd love in the team? Of course, one would be Bumrah coming in for Prasidh Krishna. Any other changes and your predictions? What is in store for the Lord's test?
No, no changes apart from that. Only Bumrah comes in place of Prasidh Krishna for me. I don't think there is going to be some change in batting order because after missing 1,000 plus runs in a test match, you don't really go on and change your batting order. But I think this match is going to see a lot less runs because this is going to be a very bouncy and pace friendly pitch. Because and for India also, I don't think it is going to be that honeymoon period in this match because Gus Atkinson is a good bowler. Gus Atkinson is a much better bowler than Karsey and he's a much better bowler than Karsen. And Jofra Archer, we know what he brings to the pitch. Sheer pace, those lethal bounces. I know we have again and again been seeing those reels where he has been attacking Steve Smith with all those bounces over all his face and hand. So he's gonna bring in the same thing here again. And I think McCullum has already asked, as I already said, McCullum has already asked for a very bouncy pitch and a very pace-friendly pitch. So that is going to cause some troubles. That is going to cause some issues for Indian batsmen as well because we have not seen how these batsmen really play those bounces. Because in the first 2 matches, I did not see a lot of bouncers being bowled. So this is going to be a challenge, and this is going to be something really interesting. A win at Lords is always special. If we can do that, that would be really good. A draw is something I can go on with, but a defeat would again put India in the back foot. So let's see how it goes.
Abhishek.
Uh, for me, I am really interested to see how Indian bowlers attack on those green turfs. Like having pace is a lethal combination with the swing actually. Akashdeep was good with the swing. I didn't see his speedometer taking up to 140, 145 regularly. And on the other hand, Siraj would be lethal here with his pace and Bumrah, of course. On the other hand, that's Atkinson and Jofra Archer. I am someone like who's not actually impressed by Jofra Archers because we have seen that the test where Archer and Smith was uh, playing that rivalry. And the fact is, Smith scored a century and Labuschagne was there. He scored century in his like debut. I think that was the debut series of Labuschagne. And And similar story you can see every other bowler have. Like Siraj under Virat Kohli's captaincy, he was attacking England better than Jofra Archer, I would say. So this is not he is not a bowler. Even sets prove that who can like may who have actually Jofra Archer's name is much I would say much more of word of mouth, where he is being praised and he is being uh, given the tag of one of the most dangerous bowler, but his performance tells the other story. He was in IPL and we have seen what happened to him. He he doesn't have that much stats
I,
padding or
I,
stats up.
I, IPL is a different ball
IP,
game.
I
It's
know.
true because bowlers don't get much, but it's true that Archan needs to prove himself on the biggest stage more.
Maybe much of the hype about Joffrey Archer is due to his old tweets that keep on flashing up in the social media now and then. Let's see. I'll just search up if there is some tweet about India England in Lords and see what he has already predicted.
I would like one more pacer maybe instead of Washington Sundar probably because looking at the pitch that looks really green. And so with this, let's end this session. And do let us know in the comment section what do you think of the first test India's win, the second test India's win, and also what changes you would like to have going into the second test and your prediction for the second test. Thank you so much for joining.